E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live. Also on Amazon Fire TV and to Twitch. Also Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna, producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Hi, Jim.
Hi there. Thank you for letting me in the back door there. I appreciate that. You know, when you go out back, you might get locked out, ladies and gentlemen, but it's so good to be here on this Wednesday with you. My goodness gracious. This is Palentine's week and how to be a friend.
Right. Ooh. Right. Yeah. And, you know, not everybody has somebody in their life, Jim.
Boy, that's true.
Right.
That's
not
true.
Everybody has somebody in their life, but, you know, we really would kind of talk about some ways that you can get involved in your community and find like-minded people and what it takes to really put yourself out there to be a friend.
Yeah, because if you want a friend, you got to be a friend first.
Absolutely.
You know, because you can't order a friend through a catalog or anything.
Yeah, Sears and Roebuck doesn't do that anymore.
I know it. Doggone it. I mean, I don't know why they don't. As we used to call them Sears and Rareback, you know. And I got to tell a funny little story about that. I grew up in the South, and the preacher stopped by at these folks' house that we knew. And the mother told the kid, little boy, honey, go into the house and get that book that we all love. She was wanting him to get the Bible. Kid comes out with the Sears and Roebuck catalog.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know who the kid was now, you know. But anyway.
I'm sure
that's another story. That's another story.
Well, but, anyway. Actually, it's funny because back in that day, Sears and Roebuck that's where you got everything. You ordered
when that catalog came in, I mean, it was everybody wanted to see it and sit down and look at it, you know, and it was
a little dreaming.
Yeah, you bet. Because, you know, we didn't have the internet in those days, and TV wasn't that, you know, we had 3 channels. You know, 3 networks, ABC, CBS, and NBC. And it's one of those deals when the president came on, their whole night was shot because everybody had him on, you know. But you couldn't see Flipper or anybody else, you know. But, you know, the Sears Roebuck catalog, it was a great way for people to, you know, find things, get things that they didn't even know exist.
Right.
And, you know, the really sad part of that, when you think about that, you see something in the catalog, you just got to have it. Oh, you can't live without it. And 10 minutes ago, you didn't even know it existed.
Right. Right. You know? Think about that for a minute. Holy cow.
Yeah. And, you know, books is a good thing because books is a great way to find friends that, you know, are interested in the same type of, maybe the same author, the same type of, type of books like a mystery or, you know, romance books.
There's a ton of book clubs out there, Jim.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Yeah. It's really amazing because being able to find common ground to build on a friendship, that's the key.
The common denominator.
It really truly is. And go in with the attitude that I'm going to be a friend, because you got to be a friend first to have a friend. Because
Mhm.
you can't be a wildflower, go in there and or stand over in the corner like a tree and have someone to come up and say, "Hey, would you like to be, start talking to you and want to be your friend and all that." The world doesn't turn that way.
Right.
And if you're focused on being a friend, it means you're giving. You're sharing, love and respect for another human being. And that's the starting point, isn't it, Donna? Really
It
is.
really is. It really is, because there is absolutely, if you're not sure where to go and you have interest, our phones,
Mhm.
if I can get this in front of the camera, right? Our
Oh, yeah.
phones and our computers will tell us anywhere within your community, wherever you're at,
Mhm.
where you can go and join a group. There's,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, there's everything under the sun. If you want to volunteer, what do you want to
Mhm.
volunteer for? Put it in.
Mhm.
If you want to
Yeah.
volunteer at an animal shelter, if you want to volunteer, even for, say, the companies out there who help get food for those who are in need, they are always
Mhm.
looking for people to help package up the food.
Oh, yeah. And like the Chamber of Commerce, they'll have things listed there you didn't even know existed. And it
Public
could be a
libraries.
great, yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes. And it's just so many places out there. If you look and look without, you're going to start finding, common something that you could build common ground with someone, and
Right.
that's so important. And I really encourage people to get involved in things like, helping the homeless, things of this nature, helping the needy, because the people who are involved in the packaging of the food and performing the services to
Mhm.
provide for them, they've already got a great heart.
Absolutely.
So you got half the
Absolutely.
battle won right there.
So it just really comes down to, Jim, what is your specific interest?
Right. Hmm.
What
It
what
really
are
does.
my recommendation is take the first 5 things that you want to get involved in and
Hmm.
put them in that order. And then go search where something is local and close to
Hmm.
you that you can
Hmm.
become involved in.
Yeah. Just see if the folks who are there are your kind of people, if the
Right.
chemistry's there, you'll be able to tell.
Absolutely. You'll be able to tell in probably the first 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Because all of us have been involved in things, either socially or professionally, and we know it's not a good fit for us.
Right.
And we got to move on, because if, as Donna likes to say, it's either a person, a place, or a thing. And if you find yourself in a situation like that, simply move on. You know,
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong about that. I mean,
No.
not everything's a perfect fit for everyone.
Right. And it's literally about finding what works for you, where you can find and meet the people that you want to have in your life that fit
Yeah.
within your parameters of
Mhm.
what is important to you.
That's a great way of putting it, because that particular thing is a principle,
Hmm.
and that's applicable across the board in friendships, business relationships, all the way up from the bottom to the top. I mean, it just
Absolutely.
that is the most that is just a great way of putting it, Don. It really
It,
is.
it is. And, sometimes, honestly, it takes several times to be around people to find out if
Oh yeah,
they are what you saw the first time.
sure, sure. And they those folks there, they might want to get together. Just, hey, let's go get something to eat or something. They might invite you along,
Hmm.
and you're in a safe environment because you're with a group of people, and go. You know, even if you don't like the food, I mean, you could order a little something. You can just say, I'm not really hungry, but I'd like to have, some iced tea or a cup of coffee, or, whatever.
Piece of pie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can we go have a piece of pie after the show?
Right?
Yeah. I
Yum.
mean, I'll buy, as long as we put some whipping cream on top of it.
Okay, you and my husband. The
Yeah.
the piece
Yeah.
of pie always disappears over the whipped cream.
Oh, yeah. It's like when George hears me talk about eating the Snickers. I mean, I was telling the story about the Snickers, and you've heard it before, Donna, and I know other folks have. But they immediately he'll cut me off in the middle of the story. More Snickers for you, because
Right.
he's real big about he's real big about uh, being anti-sugar and flour and all that, and that's a good thing too, because you got to eat healthy. But my point, I didn't want to get off on that. We were talking about we started talking about going out for pie after work. I mean, after the show. I mean, I'm already there. In heart, spirit, mind, except for body.
Taste
Is
buds,
that one of those?
everything's going.
Yeah, it's an out of body experience for me, is what I'm trying
Right.
to say.
Right. And I'd like to even say that, like, for stay-at-home moms,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes, right? I've been there, and we
Mm,
didn't have back then, we didn't have the stay-at-home mom groups like we do today. So y'all have an
mm,
advantage over us back in the day. But there are
mhm.
so many, I've seen it on Facebook where people will say, "Hey, I'm a stay-at-home mom and I've got, two little ones. I would sure like to get together with somebody, meet at the park and have a play date
Oh,
for
yeah.
kids."
As you mentioned that, it reminded me one time something I didn't even realize. Ellen was staying home with our kids. Okay. Of course, I'm out working and all that. And then she told me one day, she says, "Wow, we went somewhere." And she says, "I really struggled." I said, "What do you mean you really struggled?" Of course, she's an introvert to begin with. And she said, uh, being around the kids and just talking to the kids all the time, she says, I had a little bit of problem communicating with adults. And I'm going like, what? You know? But I mean, that can happen because we can all get rusty if we are isolated.
We get so wrapped up in where we're at.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. I totally understand that one. I
Yeah.
do. I
Mhm.
totally understand that one.
Yeah. Because when she told me, I'm just kind of like looking at her like, are you kidding me? And because it was that was at that time at 20, whatever I was in, that was above my pay grade. Yes, that was way above my pay grade.
Right,
But
right.
it's I can understand it now. And
Mhm.
we get out of touch or something like that. It's kind of like typing. You get used to texting and all that. And the other, I'm doing some work now with the type, on my keyboard and all that. I'm going like, hey, wait a minute. I mean, I've lost that ability.
Right.
I mean, I've slowed down. I haven't lost it. I've slowed down, but it's not as smooth. I'm getting back up to speed. But I'm like, well, because I used to write a lot more on the keyboard,
Right.
and now I don't, because a lot of the stuff I do on my phone.
Right, right. So
And
what are you saying, you're up to, like, what? 6, 7 fingers now?
I use my big toe for the space bar. That makes it easier.
You're so
It's a
silly.
blown.
Oh my goodness. Oh
that,
my
that
goodness.
frees up one hand from my coffee cup anyway.
Nice. Nice. Well, here's a cup of coffee for you.
There we go. There we go. But
Hmm.
we're talking about forming friendships, and that's very important because uh, Monday and Tuesday we covered about the 20 top reasons people were, listed why they were alone or what their problem was, and
Felt
all of them was
isolated.
isolated. Yeah, and a lot of it was just I. It was all inward.
Right.
And Donna and I during this week, because Friday is Valentine's Day, we want you to look outward, because that's where all the energy and love's going to come from. It's not going to come from within. It's going to come from out on the
Right.
outside. And that's extremely important, because finding a peer group, yeah, that's a great place to start building, common ground there, and checking with the various organizations around that serve others. My goodness gracious, that's a wonderful place to start, because, like I said, like I said before, the people there, they already have a caring and giving heart. And I'm
Right.
involved with the local food bank here, and so I really appreciate that, and
Hmm.
I appreciate being able to be of service there. Plus, it's fun.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
I
it is.
involved with a local non-kill animal shelter here.
Mm, that's a wonderful thing, because animal shelters, oh my goodness gracious, They can use food. They can use labor, volunteer
Blankets,
labor.
everything.
Yeah.
Blankets, everything. And it's for me though, it can be difficult because when I go, I, I want to bring them all home.
Yeah.
Every dog, every cat, every
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to bring them all home.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, I know what you mean because it's, you know, animals you feel so special to because they're innocent
Hmm.
and they're in a place where,
And they're
you know,
pure,
yeah, they don't have a home and they're just, their needs are met, but they don't really have anybody that loves them and
right?
anyone can have the time to play with them. And, you know, poor things, bless their hearts, you know, because, you know, gosh, like I said before, can you imagine what a wonderful world this world would be if everyone had the heart of a family dog? It's so
Right.
true. We can take a lesson from the animals. I'll tell you right now.
You
These
know,
human animals,
right.
these human animals are something else. Go ahead.
I wake up every day and my dog is on the floor at the foot of our bed. And I
Hmm.
usually have no less than 3 cats in the bed with us. And they're always on my side, wrapped around my feet, my side. So me trying to get out of bed can oftentimes be difficult because I'm trying to move,
Hmm.
2-ton Tessie, as we call her, lovingly.
Oh
She's a
my
hefty
goodness
one.
gracious. Yeah. And Donna, you talk a lot about it's your place there at Donna at her website, donnaguinois.com. Her email address is high energy right now because the things that holding you back from having good relationships with other folks, you know, male and female, whatever, uh, it's because there's something blocking your energy
It is. It
and you
is.
enslave yourself. And Donna, I'd like for you to expand on that a little bit, if you would, please.
Yes. Well, thank you, Jim. It really does come down, folks, to a person, a place, or a thing,
Hmm.
or any combination thereof in
Hmm.
those three. And what happens is we are so stuck here in our
Uh-huh.
head, right, that we can't get past it. It's just, it gnaws on us. And, it can be something that you've been carrying around for 10, 20 years, maybe longer. And we
Hmm.
don't realize that that is truly what is blocking us from opening up and going further. And
Hmm.
once that has been uncovered and you can identify what it is that is blocking you from going forward, guess
Hmm.
what? Your life opens up. You feel like you've got 1,000 pounds lifted off your shoulder that you didn't even realize you were carrying,
Mm. That
right?
is so true because Bill Heinrich in his book, The Seven Levels of Truth, he covers that tremendously well too. And about how to get out of your worry, how to get out of the
Right.
physical, how to get into the higher echelon of life, which is love and abundance, which is
Hmm.
outside of you. Everything is non physical. And the same thing is true with a gentleman that we're very familiar with his YouTube video, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. That's
Oh, that's
another,
a good one.
that's a good one. And these things can help open up your mind and tear down the blinders that are blinding you.
Right.
And and guess what? When you do that, the energy will come to you and it will lead you from where you are to where you need to be. You
Right.
don't have to figure this out. That's the
And the
beauty of it.
best, right, the best part of it, and this is what, I have found in my own personal life as well as my clients in high energy performance coaching, that guess what? We leave behind all kinds of things that
Mm.
are associated and sort of a tag along with whatever was blocking us, whether it be worry or anger or, you know,
Mhm.
anxiety. It can be any number of things. And we
Mhm.
leave more behind than we actually knew.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That is so true, Donna. And it's amazing when you discover what's blocking your energy. It's kind of like, wow, all this time I've let that little thing, just shackle me down.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's,
We were
you know,
actually talking about that with Bill on Friday, Jim.
yeah, I know. Yeah. And I mean, the hardest thing that I had shifting gear and getting around was what Earl Nightingale said there in his YouTube video. what Bill said Friday is that once you ask for something, it's already yours. You own it. And now that does not mean if you ask to win the lottery, because now you're talking about something physical. That don't
right.
work, you know. Otherwise, we'd all have our own private island and be somewhere else, you know. But realistically, when you ask for something with the right heart, in the abundance of the universe with love and abundance, it's already yours.
Right.
It's already yours. And Bill covered that very well on Friday's show, last Friday's show. And if by chance any of our shows that you have a question about, say, hey, you mentioned something in a previous show or you mentioned something in your show, could you send me the link? All you got to do is just, ask us, tell us what you want. Send us an email at inspiratione360tv, and either Gaia or Michaela, Donna or myself, one of us will respond to you ASAP with the information to answer your question. And we would honor the privilege of you being able to be of service to you. So please let us know, okay?
And that, also, if there is something that you would like us to discuss on the show, we would love to hear what you feel is tugging at your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, if you contact us and you got some good material and all that, and you got some good information, let us know. We'd be glad to mention your name and mention your website and, give you some credit there, because this is all about providing information to folks in an infotaining kind of a way.
Correct.
And, Donna, when it comes to be somebody's friend,
right,
all of that energy now is going forward.
Right.
And how many times have we met somebody or tripped across something by we call it accident?
Right.
It's not really an accident, is it, Donna?
No. We are supposed to see, meet, feel what we go through in life at that moment, at that time, for a reason, for that time, for that reason, and that season.
Yeah. People come into your life for a reason. And when you go with the right kind of heart, just accept that. People come into your life for a reason. Take, for example, this is maybe not a great example, but this is one way I look at it, because I hate traffic lights. Those things will be green till I get within, 50, 75 feet, and they'll turn orange and red. And I'm going, good grief. But I've adjusted my attitude to say, okay, that traffic light may have stopped me from getting involved in a fender bender somewhere.
Yep.
And it helps me to adjust my attitude to where I do not destroy my happiness.
Right. You're doing an internal checks and balance on yourself.
And besides that, the traffic light is what? A thing. That's what Donna's talking about.
Bingo.
It's a thing. Yeah. And I still have to work on myself, because my goodness gracious, I've got a lot to learn and a lot to go and grow. And that's a good thing, because, it seems like when I'm in a hurry, I get behind every slow poke on the road. And, I'm kind of like, come on, at least make an attempt to pedal that thing. Good gracious. Because if I live to be 300, I'll probably always struggle with that. But the point of it is recognize it and just say, okay, it's one of my faults. I'm going to love myself, forgive myself, and go on. And it'll happen again, so don't worry about it.
Right. Just accept it and say, okay, it's always going to be there at some point in time.
And sometimes, I accept it like that, and it doesn't, bother me. Right. But if you let it bother you without understanding and forgiving yourself, then your subconscious mind automatically throws that into high gear every time, 100% of the time. And that's a very bad habit.
Well, and on the other side of that, when we don't accept it, we don't recognize it, Jim, it can create an anxiety in us that we don't need.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that the truth?
We don't need it, because, at the end of the day, and this is what I would like everyone to look at, whatever you're struggling with, and I was as guilty as sin of this in many, many years ago. I would worry about every dadgum thing that came down the pike.
Hmm.
everything. And I robbed myself of just being in that moment, of just being okay. Because at the end of the day, what I was
Yeah.
worrying about wasn't going to be, first of all, 99% of it wasn't going to manifest.
Yeah.
Second
Yeah.
of all, how was it going to affect me in a week, 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years?
Hmm.
Am I going to remember what I was worried about 5 years ago? No.
No,
I mean, of course,
not at
there's a
all.
few things in our lives, but those are the exception. That's at 1%. But the
Hmm.
rest of it is just stuff that we put into our own mind.
Hmm. We're excellent builders of building parameters in our mind that keep us inside our mental box.
Right.
We are excellent at that. That is something so easy for us to do. And Don, it's really amazing how when I think about my life and making friends, uh, I remember, and when we were in Vietnam, there was one guy I did not know his story or anything like that, but mail call. I don't think I ever heard his name get called at mail call
Oh my gosh, that's
because we'd
heartbreaking.
have formation and okay, mail call, and
Mhm.
I don't ever recall. I hope I'm wrong in saying that, but when we got care packages in because we didn't have really any place. We had little refrigerators and stuff, but I mean here and there, but I mean didn't have any way of preserving food over there in that
Right.
jungle environment. So what we would do every time somebody got a care package in, we'd invite everybody together, and we'd always make sure we invited this one individual, and we would just have us a woofing good time. We wolf down that good stuff.
A
And
little party.
yeah, and the point that I raised that up, and the reason I mention that is that you can look around and find somebody that would love to be invited to, break bread with you or to
Right.
be invited out to eat or to share a dessert or something or go somewhere
Mhm.
like we were talking about earlier about going after the show over to get some pie and how much time we got till we go there, okay. But realistically, I mean, think about that, how you can be a friend to somebody else because that is such a rewarding type of
Right.
feeling. You know, the feeling that I remember getting from inviting him and sharing was that it was just, and everybody did it. We all did it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this one guy, I can't remember his name, but boy, we loved it when he got care packages. I mean, we're talking, we're talking downtown now.
Well, and I can remember one of my children had this little fella in class with them,
Hmm.
and he had his mother had abandoned them. He had I don't know the name of it, but he drooled a lot, and
Oh yeah.
so he had a hard time talking, and of course that really pushed people away from this child. And we invited him to a birthday party, and he was so excited. And of course I always did birthday parties at the house for my kids, and his dad dropped him off and came up to me and said, I want to thank you because this is the first birthday party he's ever been invited to. And it broke my heart. It broke my heart because he was different, because, he had a condition that was out of his control. And I am a fierce mother bear. I mean, I very protective of my children, very protective of those I love. It's just not even a question. And, I kind of took him under my wing that way. I also made sure, because I was a single dad struggling, trying to make ends meet with two kids and be parents, and he never had snacks. So I always made sure that this individual, this little boy, had extra snacks and stuff at snack time in my child's lunchbox. And
Mm.
then all the other kids were like, well, how come he gets all the good stuff? Well, no, the question should have been, how come you're not doing more to help somebody else?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Think about how that would make you feel because people are going to remember how you made them feel
Right.
and not some pretty glazed words that are, just as common to cover a glazed pot, a clay
Right.
pot. I mean, goodness, because it doesn't have any long lasting value. But how you made them feel, that lasts a very long time, sometimes even a lifetime, doesn't it, Donna?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, it doesn't even matter if he remembers it. Just the fact that we were part of that journey with him
Oh, yeah.
is the reward of all rewards.
Yeah. And one of the things too, when you're meeting people for the first time, it's important to be polite and listen more so than talking.
Right? Two
Because,
ears, one mouth.
yeah, because, people might be looking at you to be a good friend that can listen to them in their hour of need and
Hmm.
help them. And that is quite an honor right there.
Right.
It really truly is. It's an honor for someone to take you in their confidence and to want to share something with you in their hour of need. And Donna, it's amazing how it's happened to me, and I imagine it's happened to you and everybody else out there. Every now and then you'll be at a place and someone will come up, and just a stranger that you don't know from Adam's house yet, and they will start just wanting to talk to you. I'm not talking about socially talking, but they say, well,
They pour out of, of them into you.
yeah, yeah. And see, that is the universe right there that's directing that person to another person
Hmm.
that could be there for that person in their hour of need.
Yep.
That's how special we are. Don't let anyone tell you you're not special or you don't matter, because you do.
Absolutely. And you are
You,
worthy
oh, yeah.
and deserving
Hmm.
of everything that the universe can abundantly give you.
That's exactly right. If anybody's telling you you're not worthy or you're no good or something like that, love them enough to forgive them of their ignorance and move on with your life.
Hmm.
Don't
Hmm.
let them enslave you,
Right?
because they're robbing you from being you. And you have a much higher calling out there. And think about the people that you could touch their lives and make their lives better. That's why we're here. We're not
And,
here for things. Go ahead.
right. And the one thing I learned years ago, Jim,
Mhm.
when people are really nasty and ugly
Oh,
to you,
mhm.
it really has very little to do with you. It's all about their internal energy and their internal struggle with
Mhm.
themselves and how they feel about themselves in their own life. It's
Yes.
their own personal demons fighting inside. And the only way they can justify it, because they're blocked energetically,
Mhm.
is by being ugly to somebody else. And that makes them feel a little bit better.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly why they do that. They got so many cracks and crevices on the inside of them. They try to camouflage it
Right?
by putting someone else down. And that is just, that's all them. Let it go.
Right?
If someone doesn't like you, okay, that's fine, no problem. Love them and let them go, and that's their right.
Right.
That's their right to not like you or whatever. I mean, there's people who don't like me, and that's fine. I haven't done anything to them, intentionally or been
Right.
mean or anything. But
Same here.
yeah, I mean, not everybody likes our show. So
Right.
what? You know,
Yep. We're okay with
because
that.
yeah, I mean, yeah, because there's enough entertainment out there for everybody. That reminds me
Right.
of our buddy Marty Haggard. What did he say about his dad Merle and the way Merle would help people? Oh my good, I love that story about by the time I get to Phoenix. Tell that story,
Right.
Donna. Tell
Oh
that
my
story.
goodness. Well, they were living in Bakersfield, California,
Hmm.
the Haggard family. And uh, Glenn Campbell was he played guitar for Merle,
Studio musician, yeah.
studio musician. And if anybody knows anything about music back then, Glenn Campbell was amazing on the guitar.
Yeah. Hmm.
And he was with, wasn't it RCA?
Capitol Records.
Capitol. My
Yeah,
apologies. Capitol.
that's okay.
He was with Capitol Records, and he had cut this record, but there wasn't much promotion going on. And he called Merle, and he said, I'm with the same people you are, and I'm not getting any traction. Would you give it a listen? He said, well, sure I will. So he listened to it and he said, well, let me tell you, that is a #1 bestseller right there. He said, here's what I want you to do, Glenn. He said, I want you to get 2,000 copies of that and bring them down here to Bakersfield. And we're going to put them in with mine that I send out to the DJs all over the country, because back then there was only about 2,000 country western DJs around the country. And he said, no, I'm going to put a personal note in there, and I'm going to ask them to give it a whirl. Instantly, both of them, both their records went instantly #1 overnight.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why Merle did that, Marty says, back in those days, they figured there was room at the top for everybody.
Right? And everybody wanted to help everybody.
Yeah. There wasn't any, all this backstabbing and all this,
competition wasn't like that back then.
Yeah. Because he says, not everybody likes Merle Haggard. Not everybody likes Johnny Cash. Not everybody likes Glenn Campbell. But there are people out there, if it's good music. How did Marty say that? If it's good music, it deserves to be heard.
Right. Right.
And the reason why we bring that story up, and I asked Donna to go into detail, was that your good music in your soul needs to be heard. Your voice needs to be heard. Because there's plenty of people out there that can connect with you that cannot connect with me or Donna.
Right.
Think about that.
Right. Mm. And, we are all a conduit, if you will. Mm-hmm. We're all a conduit, right? So our energy flows to everybody. And it's about being the kind of friend that you want to have a friend for you. Mm-hmm. It truly, truly is.
It certainly is. And to be a good friend, work on your negative traits. We all have negative traits. Work on them. Don't let them be a barrier in between you and someone else, because negative traits, they always rob you of your energy. They rob you of your health. They rob you of your happiness. They are violent robbers is what they are.
Right.
I mean, when you think about some of the negative traits that you have in your life, list them and work on them. Mm-hmm. And that's very important, because one negative trait that a friend of mine used to have that worked on it, and I'm glad he did. This was a guy. He loved to gossip. And I knew the guy very well, and I said, man, I've never heard you say anything good about somebody,
Right.
And but he just had a very bad habit, and he says, Jim, I've been trying to work on it. And I said, just stop doing it. No need to work on, just stop doing it. He said, well, how did you quit drinking? I said, well, I quit buying. That's right. Yeah. I mean, you quit buying, they quit serving,
That's right. That's right.
I don't know any bar. I don't know any bar that runs a charity or anything. There's a bar over there in Navasota that I pass on the way when I go to get on the way to the hospital there. I had to go over there many times after my surgery and all. And it had a big sign up there. It says free beer. And underneath it says tomorrow.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I like that. It's cute. It's cute. I imagine the people who own that have a wonderful sense of humor, because people enjoy a sense of humor. People enjoy laughing.
Absolutely.
So be sure and laugh and enjoy yourself, because, oh gosh.
Right. Well, I was just going to say, one of the other things that is a real turnoff to most people is when somebody brags about themselves on a consistent and persistent basis. Mm-hmm. And again, that comes back to the three big, what, Jim?
Me, myself, and I.
There you go.
And Donna, I'd like to brag on myself a little bit,
right?
If I may.
Right.
And if I start bragging, Donna's going to do this to me.
I will. I'll just kick him right off.
She'll pull my plug. I'll be in a GNC status. You know what a GNC status is?
Got nothing coming.
Got nothing coming. That's right.
That's right. That's right.
And if I get too close to her, I might get some good old fashioned what's called thump therapy. Mm-hmm. But no, because bragging is one of the worst things you can do. And I remember when Muhammad Ali won the heavyweight championship, he's running around the ring and says, I'm the greatest. I'm the great. He was just
Right.
very caught up. He was very happy, which is understandable because
Right.
he beat Sonny Liston. And my dad says, well, if you are the greatest, you shouldn't have to tell anybody.
Right. So, and it's funny because somebody I know on their profile, and I won't say what social media profile, but just on their profile, has actually listed that they are a leader. Well, if you're a leader, you shouldn't have to list it.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, now maybe I'm wrong, Jim, but to me, my world, that's just being bragging.
Yeah.
And that's, look at me, me, myself, and I.
Oh, I gotta get on my soapbox now because Donna knows how I feel about this. Donna and I, we've been on, shows and things like that. And, they introduced a speaker. We were on, a summit and they got several speakers there. A guy or gal pops up. I'm this is my name and this is who I am. This is what I do, da, 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 da. And I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. I'm a trainer. I'm
a good full 5 minutes.
Oh yeah. And, I love what Donna said, and when she opened up, and when I opened up, I went down talking about what I was there, and I simply, rather than go off with who I am and all that, because the lady just introduced me. This is Jim Grant, yada
Right.
da da da, so I don't need to be a human parrot and repeat that. So I just simply said, ladies and gentlemen, my presentation today, I'm going to share with you 3 proven ways that you can make your community a better place to live. Well, right there in that one sentence, the people who I can help, and it's interesting what I've got to say, they're going to listen to me.
Right.
And the people who are not interested, they're going to be like Shania Twain. I'm out of here. And that's fine,
And, when we were on that summit, I opened up when I spoke with a question.
Yeah.
I didn't say who I was. I was already introduced, like Jim said.
Right.
And I said, let me ask everybody here a question. And by a raise of hands, and I asked the question, because this was, of course, on Zoom, right?
Right.
And, hands went up. Well, what I did was I got them engaged.
That's exactly right.
I got them engaged. I got them going, wait, that's me. Yeah, I know that one. And it wasn't about me.
And people love to give you their opinion if you ask them questions. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So, be really, really careful, I mean, if somebody asks you a pointed question, that's awesome.
Right. Sure.
Answer them. But, I guess what we're saying is don't give them a 10-minute dissertation.
Yeah.
Don't give them a thesis version.
Yeah. Don't be do your impersonation of the town crier about your news. Because, should I say this on the air? Should I? I'm going to say it.
For it.
I learned something a long time ago because for 12 years, I was a certified instructor. And sometimes you come off the podium from drinking coffee and being up there for an hour, you've got to take care of some necessary business. Well, every now and then you'll have a student come up and that student is just, wants to know more about you. And this older instructor taught me this trick. And this young guy came up and he's talking. I said, well, I need to go to the restroom. Oh, yeah. He kept talking and asked me questions, and I'm answering the questions. And I started staring at his ear. Just pick one and lean forward and stare at it. And you know what? They're kind of like that. When they turn or try to move their head to catch your eyes, follow the ear. It makes them, uncomfortable, and they'll leave you alone. I said, I've got to go to the, take care of some necessary business. Oh, okay. Because some people, bless their heart, when they get to talking, you can't.
Tunnel vision.
They don't have a switch where you can flip them off.
Tunnel vision, and they don't see anything else outside of what they're.
Me and Don were standing out there in Phoenix, and I'm not going to mention the person on the air, but you'll know who it is. We're standing there. We got our plates. We're standing in line to get food. We need to just move over to where the food is because we haven't had anything to eat. And this is about 7 o'clock at night. I mean, we hadn't had anything since that morning. We're both a little hungry. And
Right.
this guy's doing his impersonation of a male chatty Cathy. And we can't shut him up. We can't get away from him. The food got gone. I'm like, man. And we told him, hey, once you get a plate and let's join us, let's get something to eat. Oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And he was right in front of Don's face and just going on and on and on. But the reason we point that out to you is, be aware.
And be kind.
Yes. And be respectful. Be aware of the surroundings there. Look at people's body language.
That's
if
huge.
you're talking to someone and they're looking over here or looking up there or staring at your ear, that means they want you to back off.
Right. One of my personal irritants is when somebody I don't know gets within that 3-foot distance of me.
Oh, yeah.
3 feet is okay, but if they get closer than that, it bothers me. And I have been known to say, could you back up? You're too close.
Yeah.
You are making me uncomfortable because to me, that's a very threatening behavior when you get into that space.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't mean it that way, but that's how I interpret it because I don't know them from Adam. And next thing I know, they want to be literally dadgum near in kissing distance. And that is just not going to fly with me.
Oh, yeah, because body language is very important. You should take a look at it. Because a lot of times, if a lady crosses her arms, you can't see it too well, but, crosses her arms, that's one of two things. She may be trying to cover herself. She may be cold, or she's putting up what? A barrier.
Yep. Or she's bored.
So be sure and look for that.
Right.
And there's all kind of. We don't have time to go into a lot of depth about body language, but pay attention. If someone has got their head tilted like this and they're leaning towards you a little bit, they're very in tune to what you're saying.
Right.
But if they step back a little bit, and they look around the room or something like that, you're boring those people to death.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the other things that we're getting close on time, but yeah, we are. But boost your self-esteem, folks.
Oh man.
If you believe in yourself, so will others. Okay. But it goes, deeper. You have to like yourself and treat yourself well. And I'm going to tell you, you can't do it falsely because false always shows.
Yes.
False always shows. When you truly love yourself, like yourself, and you are in tune to your energy, people pick up on it and they want to engage with you. And that is huge.
You just hit the nail on the head there because if you're a bright light, you're going to attract people that's in the dark. Because when you love yourself enough to forgive yourself and say, I've made some mistakes, so what?
Right.
I'm not going to punish myself. I'm going to forgive myself and
give myself grace and move on.
Yes. And then look for ways how to be a blessing to others. Automatically, your light's going to start shining. And
really
people who are hurting and really need a friend, they're going to come to you. They're going to come to you.
Absolutely.
That happens all the time. And that is a beautiful way because the people you're going to attract are going to be the kind of people that you possibly can build a long-term friendship and relationship with.
Right. Right.
Because they'll never forget how you made them feel. Remember that.
Right. It's just like if somebody says, oh, I think I just look this dress. I don't even know why I wore it. They're having a problem with their self-esteem. And that is the perfect opportunity to say, are you serious? That is an absolutely beautiful color on you.
Yeah, exactly.
There are so many things that you can do in situations, in meeting somebody, in kindness, that will help open the doors for everybody, yourself included. Because when you give, it comes back, folks.
Oh, yeah. It really does. And you cannot outgive the master giver. You
Nope.
really can't. I mean, when think about the love and abundance of the universe that you're entitled to.
Right.
I want you to accept ownership of that right now. That is yours. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to anybody else. It does not cost one thin dime. It is yours 100%.
It
Own
is.
it. Go
Hmm.
to The Strangest Secret there by Earl Nightingale. It's about a 32, 34-minute talk. And listen to what he says. And also go back over the last couple of weeks, listen to what we talked about, because we actually, like I still got the book here, we actually read verbatim some of
Right.
the verbiage out of a couple of chapters of this
Mm.
book, The Seven Levels of Truth.
Yep.
And Mr. Bill Heinrich, a good friend of ours, we endorse Bill. You can find this book on Amazon if you like. But the reason why we did, there were two reasons why we read verbatim out of that book. Donna and I discussed it. And Donna says, Jim, I know you can't improve on the language. Oh, okay. And number two,
And I can't improve on the language.
we tease each other. But number two, most importantly, that would have given the listeners out there a true snapshot of the powerful verbiage in that book. Oh,
Right.
some of those sentences kind of like, wow.
Right. They're real, like, okay, that one just hit home big time.
Yeah, and I want to put Bill's website up there. We want to give Brother Bill because he's a great friend of ours, and like I say, Donna and I we've known Bill for several years. His website is truelifepurposenow.com, truelifepurposenow.com. If you contact Bill and just say, I'd like to have a complimentary conversation with you. He'll give you 30 minutes, no,
Mhm.
without a credit card. And we know Bill well enough. He will not put you on an email list and try to sell you a program.
Right. Bill
He's too
doesn't
busy
have
for that.
time for it.
He
Nope.
doesn't. He's got clients all over the world.
Right. He's a
And
busy man.
yes, he is. And also to the young lady I'm associated with, who's my cousin. I think she adopted me or I adopted her.
It just was mutual along the way.
Yeah, I called her up. Hello? Hey, Donna, how you doing? Fine. Who's this? This your long lost cousin. She knew right then she had a liar on the phone.
Right. Game up.
Yeah. But if you get in touch with Donna at highenergyrightnow@gmail.com, that's high energy right now. Because if you need some energy, you want high energy and you want it right now. Okay. highenergyrightnow@gmail.com. If you get in touch with Donna, Donna will be more than happy to give you a complimentary 30-minute, presentation of, discussing things with you, find out what's blocking you as a person, place, or thing, or a combination of, and help you. So right there, you've got an hour and a half. You've got Donna's 30-minute complimentary presentation. You've
Oh,
got Bill Heinrichs, and also don't forget about Earl Nightingale
yeah.
on YouTube, because all three of them are in perfect harmony. Think about that. They're in perfect harmony, and they
Right.
can help you in your hour of need, no matter what your problem is.
Right. And, even one of the things I do is I help give people a breathing technique
Mhm.
that when they're starting to get anxious and anxiety starting to creep in, that will
Oh,
help
yeah.
them lower and get out of that space that, is a terrible space to be in. So even if it's something
Mm.
that you just want that breathing technique, you know what?
Mhm.
Let me know. We'll work on it.
Hey, you bet. You bet. And I tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, you think about what we do here on the little TV show. Our TV show is international, of course. It's growing. Aaron Hymas says, you guys get a lot of views. He said, he laughed and he says, I really like your show because you get a lot of views. And he wants to do more dog shows. And we're going to do some dogs in the future,
Right.
because we love dogs. We love animals. And even in we're working on a project right now. We would not complete that project if we did not have animals in there that we love.
That's right.
I'll put it like that. And that's already in the works, isn't it?
It is. It is. But, we are out of time, Jim.
I got to say one more thing. Number one, it's a privilege for me to be here with you, Donna. And number two, on May the 5th, we're going to be putting on a presentation with our good buddy, Mr. Marty Haggard. and it's going to be at Main Street Crossing in Tomball, Texas. And we're going to have a good old-fashioned hootenanny.
Yep, we are excited. We are so excited. We really are.
Yeah.
But it is a pleasure and an honor to be here each and every day with you, Jim, and have you in my life as my friend, as my family, and as my business partner.
Well, thank you so much.
I couldn't ask for a better person to be in my life.
Well, thank you, Donna, and feelings mutual. And I'm just glad that I made that obscene phone call.
But, I love it.
Yeah, because the way it all started, this is how energy attracts things. I went to an event, and then Donna had an event over in Scottsdale, and I got invited over there to speak at her event. That's how we actually started, connecting right there.
Right.
And so you could see that, we didn't plan anything like that.
No.
That's what I mean about there's people out there that come in your life for a reason. So open the door and invite them in. Open the door of your heart, invite them in. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone. On behalf of Donna and myself, thank you so much for tuning in. We sincerely hope and pray that you love yourself first, you love others, and most importantly, we hope you and your loved ones are healthy and happy and blessed in all areas of your life. We'll see you tomorrow, Thursday, and we'll be same place, same time, same station. Please join us, and most importantly, share it with a friend. We'll see you tomorrow.